everybody, we're back. All right, and so we are continuing on into, I guess, Act 2 of our 3-act play.
Let's see.
The theater.
We hit the
The
climax.
theater.
So in
Maybe.
Well, if it's the second of 3 acts, then it should be.
I don't think only if you use the traditional 3-act structure.
Which we don't. We have no axe.
we have no acts.
We act up all
We
the
have
time.
no
We
act.
might have an axe, but we have no axe.
So while they have been going on with their adventures in whatever place they happen to be, the two of you have been moving along with Viola through the outskirts of the city. Dave, if you
Nope.
could think.
Okay. There's... Dave, did you make sure to hit the mic?
I did hit the mic, yes.
Okay. Just I wanted to make sure, because in the beginning we had a little sound trouble. No, we have sound now.
All right. And so the last time we met with you, you were down there in the puddles,
Correct.
and you were making your way towards a hole in the wall, basically coming out. Now you've been spending the better part of the early evening, traveling up along the side of the wall, or at least nearby it, making your way up all the way past the gate, where there are a number of people that are making their way in and out from the gate itself, and up there into Westerhold, where you know the academy is. Now, she begins actually taking you further out along that road to the west, further away from Westerhold, almost outside of the Absalom proper area, to an area where there's a bunch of different hills and stuff like that. And it almost seems as though she's going away from the academy in the way that she's traversing. And she's moving with a lot of the people on the road and trying to just fit in, act as though she's just one of the many travelers moving away. Do you bring up anything, or are you just going to kind of remain quiet on your little journey?
I'm just going with it.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily bring up anything. It makes sense why we're going not directly there, so...
So she begins taking you then a little ways along off the road, and you see that there are a number of different tents there at this point, and sort of up along. And a lot of the merchants who don't really want to stay inside the city and find it cheaper, or maybe are waiting the proper paperwork or whatever to be able to bring all their goods inside, tend to make encampments just outside. At this point, you're sort of near a lot of those, and there are many tents, probably thousands of people that are outside at this point. And she continues to head north, sort of off into the hills and the semi-lightly forested area, away from that and away from the road, and travels for quite a while, as she's skirting around the city, and she stops at this hill that's just sort of rising up a bit, and there's just a couple of trees on there and a small little short stone wall that kind of stretch beyond the two trees, right in between them. She stops, rests herself up against the wall, kind of sits down for a moment, pulls up her pack and begins looking through a number of things, kind of taking stuff out. She has chalk.
Now, is it just us, or is it...
It's just the three of you.
Okay. I wasn't sure if the others had gone with us.
Nope, they had gone off on their own missions and their own things that they were doing. So she begins taking out all these different things. There's some sort of a little vial that has dust in it. You're not sure what kind of dust. It's sort of a black with purple specks throughout it. And just keeps taking all these little pieces out. And then she basically pulls out a book and begins turning to a specific page.
Would I recognize anything she's pulling out? Would I start putting together?
Yeah, why don't you give it an alchemy
she's
test
going
check.
to... That's what I thought.
Oh, it's already there.
I studied stuff, you know.
Don't channel.
Oh, shit.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting to have to roll so soon.
Always expect to roll. Okay. Nobody expects the Spanish.
Except for the Spanish Inquisition.
No,
They
they
probably expect that.
Always keep your body and your dice ready.
All right, remember you have to grab it and move it, and so it's on camera so
Yeah.
people can see.
We usually
That
have
would be a
different...
12. And
Yeah, we have a much better one usually, but it wasn't brought today. So 12.
Luke.
You recognize a little bit of it. It looks as though to you some of the materials you've seen purchased are typically used in circles of protection or summoning circles or things of that nature. The dust is the only thing you really recognize and stands out to you, only because it is a sort of a planar dust. It comes from the ethereal plane, and it's used a lot of times in those kinds of circles. It's very commonly used. usually to summon different creatures, but you'd use that dust that's there for any creature that's of the inner planes. So the inner and outer planes, we'll go through a really quick thing of that. There's the inner planes that make up your realm, the shadow realm, sort of like its opposite. The ethereal that kind of keeps them together. The elemental planes that are sort of part of all of that are aspects of both of the worlds. And then you have the positive and the negative energy planes. And so that makes up the inner sphere. The outer sphere is where the gods are, the lands of the gods, the abyss, heaven, hell, all those kinds of places make up the outer sphere. And it's sort of, think of it as wrapping around the inner sphere that's sort of inside of here, with the astral plane blocking between the two of those. All right? Whatever she's not sure if it's towards the elemental planes, towards the plane of shadow, what it is, and you're not even positive that she's necessarily summoning. But as you're watching her putting things together, you're certain that she's making a circle as she takes the dust and begins sort of spreading it out, and takes different like objects and begins marking them with the chalk with different symbols and placing them at different points. So Christiana, what are you doing while this is happening?
Looking around.
Okay.
Since we're on like a hill, so we're kind of at like a higher point, I'm assuming, so we can kind of look out and kind of surveying where we are.
Mm-hmm.
So
So as you're looking out and about, you basically see the entirety of the city and all the lights on in the city, and you've really like
I don't think I've really been outside of this.
not this far.
No.
And it's kind of amazing the size of it. Like you never realize even living in it just how big it is. But this far back, you can see like the keep that sort of rises up above, to the north of it. You basically can see the dock and how it stretches out, and how many ships really are there. Even beyond the docks themselves, how many are just sort of waiting to come in. The enormity of the city is almost daunting. You're kind of watching as all these different groups at each of the gates, there's lights on, there's many different groupings of tents all around it. You always kind of had a sense of the population being large, but from here, I mean, there could be millions within this city. And as you're watching, you're beginning to see sort of on the edges of the city at different points, almost as though it's getting a little darker. Like the lights are just kind of going out in those spots where you saw like lights in a house, they're just sort of blinking out one by one. And almost like something is just coming up from the ground, like it's stretching up like little tendrils of darkness, just all around the walls of the city. And you see that as you kind of look back for a brief moment to see if they see this, you're still watching her set her thing, but you see Viola kind of looks up where you're looking and almost has a worried look on her face and begins working faster on whatever it is that she's doing.
Do you need help?
No, we're not going to see the city.
Just keep an eye out if anyone comes.
We can.
Okay.
And she's making marks, and she's kind of making the marks a little faster as she's going through. Also, let me know when it turns. And you see that the tendrils are basically reaching out and almost like grabbing onto the walls.
Okay, so that must be what she's referring to.
Mhm.
Now I think.
No, you'll know. She continues, and she sets down the last one of them, and she sits in the middle of the circle, and she just waits. She closes her eyes and just waits.
I don't think this is really particularly the time we want to just sit here.
Step inside the circle, both of you.
I don't think
That is, what axes are you using, Krista?
I don't think we should bother her right now.
Step inside of the circle, both of you, right now.
I do it. I'm just going along with it.
Yeah, I have no problem doing that.
Okay. And you're still watching? Are you watching her, or are you watching anything else?
I'm going back and forth now.
Okay, yeah, you're watching, and you see this, whatever's happening to the city, and you see her, she just seems to be meditating. She's not watching, she's not concentrating, just seems perfectly calm. And suddenly, it's almost as though the shadow begins pulling on one end of the wall. And you watch as the city begins doing this. Like it's beginning to turn. And you hear screams coming from inside of the city.
So now is the turning part.
And she begins chanting. And you watch as all around you, at like the different points of the circle, like the different objects begin lighting up. And then you see that the dust that she settled down there all of a sudden begins turning slightly black and those same kind of tendrils begin rising up around you.
I am about like this. I'm gonna see on it right now. Sorry, I will let you know.
Oh, you're fine.
And as you're watching, you feel like the earth is beginning to sway.
Nope.
And you're starting to move like this, and almost like you're tipping like the city is, except a lot faster.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit down.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm going to too because I'm not letting go of her.
Okay. And suddenly, it's just like very quickly, the turn comes, and you find yourself
Is there a green flash?
in this area that almost is, I wouldn't necessarily call it white, but it's almost like everything is opposite. So where it's dark, it's like the photographs when you see a negative, everything looks like that. So all the black of the sky now looks kind of almost whitish. You know you're not currently in the shadow plane. Shadow plane is too dark. It's filled with shadows. This place is more like a in between, and you're fairly certain you're in the ethereal. And you're watching off in the distance towards sort of where the city was, and it's almost like, imagine if this was the pivot that things are turning on, and you're watching things kind of move like this, but there's almost like a ceiling here and a floor there, and you can only see portions of it. Like you're kind of in between what's coming and what's going. But it's very slowly moving. And you're watching as that's happening. Give me perception checks, both of you.
Oh wait, how many?
$15.
18.
All right, so 18 total for you?
Yeah, I rolled a 9.
Jeez, on a 9, you're still an 18.
Yeah, because I add 9 to that number.
Okay.
Good lord.
That's right.
Now, if I remember correctly, you get awareness whenever your pet is near, right? You're familiar? I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
We'll just say yes, which is
Okay.
why I gave you a roll in the first place.
Okay.
So as you're looking at the city, you're watching as different shapes are sort of almost on the side of your world, almost like things are falling off. Like as it's turning like this, it's almost as though it hasn't quite reset gravity yet. And so people are beginning to fall, and they're falling into this plane and sort of through, and it's almost just weird chaos. On the other side, on the side that is coming up, you can see different shapes that are there, like almost just sort of forms, but more importantly, you see resting on one of the towers, specifically at the very center of the city where the Starstone Cathedral is. You just sort of see this shape almost clawing onto it, just resting there. It's a large shape about the size of the cathedral itself. And you just see these two wings beginning to like part.
Gross.
And you see them through here as being bright, but you realize that it's that negative effect, that they're just these inky black, probably inky black wings. Now they're inky white wings. You don't see that though. You're distracted instead by what's happening around you. So from here, you can make out like the night sky, but it seems a little bit different in this world. There are stars, but they're little black specks, but they're kind of moving, right? They're almost have a bizarre nature to them. They're moving much more quickly. Not that time is necessarily moving different, that way, but it's more like they're not actually stars that you're seeing.
Okay.
But one by one, you see them just winking out. Like every one of them just going away. And you feel something inside of you that just feels terribly wrong. Like a wave of something happening. It's like something from your childhood, something that you remember, a feeling, a touch, something that's always been there that now that it's going away, you realize it even more. That it existed at one point, but you're not even sure what to name it or what to call it. You watch and you see that Viola on her face seems to be having the same sort of reaction that you are. You're not. Just so you know. But as you're looking at the city and you're seeing all this, you look to the side and you see that Viola almost seems sick. And Christiana seems just more worried. But you know that from Viola's face, this isn't, whatever's happening is either unexpected by her or isn't supposed to be happening.
Okay.
and she looked like she was trying to get up for a moment, and then it hit, and she just sort of stumbles and goes down to the ground. Help! Please help me!
What do you need?
Go-
Yeah, I
Like,
lift her up.
just try to
or-
stabilize her.
Yeah, she reaches out and like pulls on you to try to stand up. What's your strength?
-1.
An 8 then? Okay. She pulls and it's a bit more than you can handle. And you're trying to kind of lift her up, but it seems as though she's weak. Like whatever it is that's happening is causing her to weaken slightly.
Viola, what did you do?
Whatever happened, this isn't something I did. And she looks
What's
around.
going on?
As she's kind of looking around and you're kind of looking up, you see that at different points throughout where the stars were, little shapes are sort of appearing, almost as though things like meteorites or different things that are being expelled from the skies. And you see not too far away from you, maybe about like 300 feet, one of those shapes sort of lands and begins, and you see like a really weird, almost like insect-like chitinous hand, kind of very thin though, rises up and begins pulling itself up from the ground. And you just sort of see like this face that it's more like a jaw that looks like something a crab would have, except it has teeth as part of its jaw and no eyes upon its head. You seem to be the only one seeing it as she's basically helping Viola up.
Viola, what is that?
And she just
Where
sort
are
of
we?
turns over calmly, looks at what you're pointing at, and just grabs you and pulls you down back to the ground and stops trying to get up, but instead lays down. And you see the creature just kind of looks around, like not really looking around, more like it's sensing around. But it seems, from the stance that it has, it seems just as like shocked as you are. Like it is in the same position, like it looks a little bit weakened, and it slowly makes its way off and away to the west. You're not really sure of direction here, but away from you and away from the city. Cacodemon.
What?
They're normally not supposed to be here. They're found in the astral plane. When someone dies, they hunt the souls of the dead before they're able to make their way to their final resting place. Extremely dangerous creatures. I have no idea why they're here, or why I'm feeling this way. She holds out her hand like this, and just stands there. She holds out her hand again. There's nothing. And she's like she's trying. She says a few different. It would sound to you now like the chants, like she said before.
Yeah.
And she begins speaking chant after chant after chant, making different motions as she does so. Nothing is happening.
Can I detect magic?
Sure.
Do I add something to that?
Whatever your spellcraft is.
Okay, that's what
Yeah.
I thought.
So detect magic works that you have to stare at someone for 3 rounds. Remember to move the die over.
12.
12. Okay, so you have the feat that allows you to see a class or different things that they have. You've never really looked at Viola before. You do see that there is something that is kind of like a leftover on her, and you're fairly certain that it's a divine nature. From within you and all the things that you've learned, you're fairly certain it's cleric.
Okay.
But it's not like it's actually there. It's more like it's left over. More like a trace, like you would see magic that's already spent, but just sort of was there at one time. Whatever divine power she once had, and it's very recently, you can tell by how much it's degraded. It's only degraded a little bit, but it is slowly degrading away from her. Whatever divine power she had is completely gone. And it's like she's desperately panicking, trying to grasp onto that. And you can see, like, occasionally the leftovers kind of move towards her, but then fade away as she's trying to grasp it. And each one of them, it just basically dissipates faster the more she tries to go after it. Not that it matters, because there's just nothing there. Just a trace. No, I know. And she just falls to her knees and begins crying.
We can't stay here.
And what good am I now? I can't do anything. I can't protect you. I can't help you. I have nothing.
You're more than just magic. I don't have any magical capabilities. Do you see me doing that? You need to pull yourself together.
She looks up to the skies. Where are the stars?
I don't know.
We need to go get Parno and Corwin whether or not you have magic. We can do this. You're strong.
Hamish.
Oh yeah, him too.
She stands up, kind of shakes a little bit as she does so, and reaches out her hand. Do you help her?
Yeah.
Okay. She just kind of leans on your shoulder a bit. She does seem really weak. She just nods to you. That way.
Okay.
To the academy.
If I cast a mending, would that help her?
No.
weakness? Okay, never mind.
Mending is like sewing.
It only works on objects
That's
too.
what I
It's an object only. It doesn't work on people.
kind of what I thought, but I'm like
Yeah.
grasping at straws
There are
here.
spells that might help, but
So as you're continuing to make your way in that direction,
yeah.
You're watching as the city is continuing to sort of tilt and turn over, and it's taking some time as you walk. You're also realizing that distance isn't quite as far here as it would be normally. Like, what would normally take you probably hours to get to the academy takes you minutes, like 10, 20 minutes. And as you're making your way through the various different buildings, they're almost kind of like wisps of places, barely even having any, like, stability to them. There are a few that you don't recognize actually having ever been there that look like these odd monuments, strange things that probably existed ages ago but were once destroyed, but almost like a memory that remains of what was. You see to your right this just giant battlefield. It's filled with like all these different shapes sort of moving and fighting one another, but they're mostly like these ghost-like shapes. Viola kind of starts pushing you to kind of move away from it.
Okay.
Be careful in this place. Many of the dead find themselves lost here. Many have been lost for generations, eons. They are extremely dangerous. Just keep to what you're looking for and don't look away.
Okay.
Viola, did you see the wings over the city? Do you know what that is?
She nods.
What is it?
She looks up at the city that's now kind of, as it's beginning to kind of close up. They say that an umbral dragon, as old as the Plains Shadow itself, rules over Shadow Absalom. And if that's true, that means it's made its way into our world. Whoever is behind this and whoever the trustees are, I am not certain of their intention, but it is obvious they intend to bring shadow to our world.
Are people in the city still alive?
They should be. They should be alive, and if we can destroy the machine, it'll give them a chance to be themselves rather than merely pawns.
But what were you trying to do?
What do you mean?
The circle and the alchemy thing and chanting.
I knew when they made an attempt to bring the city through that the wall between planes would be thinner, and it would be easier for us to come here. And we need to come here to get to where the others are.
Okay, how do we do that?
This being, there being.
When we get to the academy, I'll tell you, it's kind of difficult to explain without you seeing.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Pardon.
Bless you.
No pardon.
When you kind of approach to where you are, you feel like the academy is. It's almost like here there's more like it's just stone. that seems to like rise up as far as your eye can see. And there's also within the stone just chunks of metal, but they're just sort of sticking out at different points, like they're just twisted and turned. All right. I need you to look. I need you to see, not with your eyes, but I need you to see. Like how you look at me or how you've looked at others. I need you to sense the magic of things, and I need you to find a place where... I need you to find a vent.
So you want me to...
It'll be a point where magic seems to be expelling. Well, not really magic. It's difficult to explain, but you'll see it and you'll understand it with your sight.
Okay.
To detect magic, obviously.
And hope I don't roll a 1. Hey! Nat 20.
Nice.
So 27.
Nice.
So as it comes up, you begin seeing like almost like weird flows, and she's right. It's not really magic that you're seeing. It's actually the absence of magic, almost like non-magic. And it stands out like everything else of this plane is being pushed away, and it's just these blank spots that just stand out. And as you follow them, you make your way towards what looks like you can see it through your sight, but you can't see it against it. It's just a piece of metal that's just sort of twisted and turned. But in your sight, you can make out almost like it's a, like she said, like a vent. Like it doesn't exist, but it's a bunch of different bars of non-existence, and there's something beyond that as well.
I think I see what you're talking about. It looks like there's bars, but it's not there, but it's there. You know, it's over here.
You're going to need to pull it and open it. I'm not strong enough to do it.
Okay.
All right, why don't you give me a strength check? So you reach them, and you're able to grasp them, and you watch as she kind of grabs on, but almost making her way through the stone itself, and like grabbing onto something you can't quite see.
10.
10?
Yeah.
You're pulling, and it's just you're not quite strong enough.
Would you like to help?
What are you doing?
Yeah, okay, so you see where my hands are. These are, I know you cannot see, it's bars, okay? You just put your hand and just grab it.
She won't be able to grab them if she cannot see them.
Can I make her see them?
Hit her on the head.
No, Christiana, this rock that you're seeing in front of you isn't really a rock. It's a plane within a plane, a demi-plane of sorts, but a manufactured one. Beyond this point is where his lab lies, in its own little pocket plane. This is the only access that I know of that allows us into it. The rock sort of acts as its anchor.
Okay.
Yeah.
What she's doing right now is she is able to see what isn't there. The plane itself, it is not magic itself. It is... I don't know what it is, to be honest.
Is there any way from the other side to open? Like, can I send Bane to go through here, maybe?
They're only like this.
Okay, never mind.
Oh, his head could fit through.
Can't squeeze.
Yeah, no, we need to get it open for us to be able to travel through. Once you have it open, we'll all see it, and it'll be a passage that we can use.
Try again. You're allowed to try again with your strength if you want.
You may have to try something else.
Inflict moderate wound. What works on this, Viola? You want me to? Can I cast something? Do I pull on it?
If I had my power, I could just do it, and I can't help you. I don't have anything at my disposal. I'm not sure exactly what you've gleaned from your other self. Is there something from your other self that you can gather? I know that you're not supposed to, and I would much prefer you didn't, but this may be the only time.
Your powers. Only your evil self can help us now. She's probably just laughing at you you
Did
right
she
now.
not? Did you not have her listed there, or did you have her listed as something else? Okay.
It listed as something else. Sorry, that's why.
Okay. You could also try just grabbing onto her while she's holding it and
Right.
pulling her if you wanted to try doing that.
Try that. Yeah.
Okay, why don't you give me a strength check?
An assist
Okay.
roll?
My
No, I'm gonna let her do
check
strength
isn't,
and then her do the assist roll.
Yeah, you realize I don't.
I know.
have a bonus to my strength. Oh, that's okay because
It's better
I
than
just
penalty.
rolled a 19.
Oh, jeez.
So that's my strength roll.
Do you have a bonus
I
to
have no
strength?
bonus to strength.
Okay, you can make an assist roll now.
No, I want her evil self to come out.
Maybe
2.
2. Okay. You hear it like creaking and cracking, like it's wants to come, and you can even hear the sound of it, and you hear the sound of like steam expelling.
Okay.
Then you realize it was just her ribs.
Although yes, it is hurting your arms a bit as she's doing it. Like I'm assuming you're grabbing like right up here, so it doesn't exactly pleasant as you're like trying your desperately to hold on and grasping in there, and it's sliding and slipping. If you have something that might stabilize your hands or something along those lines, that might help. Putting a lot on you right now, aren't I?
Yeah, and I'm really sorry. I didn't look at too much into Evil Mishka because I didn't want her to come forward. Sorry.
Well, if you can use good Mishka to come up with something, you don't have to, but... Because right now, at this point, Christiana just has it right on the edge. It just needs a little bit of extra push. So it doesn't have to be anything like mythic or major or anything like that, but... Well, what is it?
Heroism.
What does heroism do?
Give you skill checks, not strength checks. It's attack rolls, saves, and strength, and skill checks. Not sure that would be helpful.
What is it?
Volcanic storm. Chunks of volcanic rock and clumps of ash pound down.
Yeah, that's not going to help.
I mean,
Go back to your
could.
normal self. And you have a bunch of 0 level spells, right?
The amusing thing is going through her evil self. It's like this weakens, this weakens, this weakens.
I know,
That's
I
all
know. She's very big on weakening. Look at your like 0 level spells. Can I see those? I think she just
You
got
can
it.
try and chill touch.
I think that's the one, yeah.
Oh. It's attack rolls, saving throw,
Saving
skill
throw.
check again.
I'll allow it for skill checks.
Okay.
Or for
It says
for a
or
strength
skill
check.
check, so.
I'll allow it for strength checks. It's kind of along the same lines, so.
Ow.
better than making a god awful.
Is that one
racket.
something you have memorized or prepared?
I'm alright, thank you.
No? Okay. Then you're gonna have to use Evil Mishka to pull it out.
What about
No, don't go to her. Just she can use Mythic to call up any spell that she wants to at any moment in time.
Oh,
also that might weaken the bars. I don't know if it,
chill touch.
it's actually like one spell.
It's prepared.
Roll the damage.
Oh, with living creatures. Or undead.
I'll allow it.
Bars
Or
are
strength.
dead.
Ooh, strength damage.
Yeah, strength damage. There you go.
I'll allow it. Just go ahead.
Alright.
You don't have to make a touch attack. You just have to roll the damage for it.
Oh, sorry.
You're already holding onto the bars.
Oh, that's
Touching
a
you
good
got.
point.
Does it say what it does? It's usually going to be in the text.
Touch from your hand, which glows with blue energy, disrupts the life force of living creatures. Each of the child 1d6. The touch creature also takes 1 point of strength damage unless it makes a saving fortitude throw.
Just roll it. Don't worry about it. All right. 2. Okay. Right, and so you see that like the frost kind of comes out from your hands a little bit around the bars themselves, and you said it's 1 strength. Okay, and it just kind of moves a little bit within your hands, and you see it like the cold just sort of shrinks. You're pretty sure now that it's metal, whatever you're holding on to, and that the metal just shrinks just enough that you're able to slide it through.
Okay.
And pull it out. And as it comes out, you see that she's holding on to what looks like a metal grate, and you see that there's like a semicircular looking like hole where air is coming and flowing out from.
this good enough?
And it's metal, like going through like a little.
Like an air duct.
Yeah. This is our way in.
See, I was thinking water slide.
What's on the other side?
My grandfather's lab.
Does it matter? We need to get our friends.
I'm not 100% sure where this leads to within his laboratory. I just know it leads in.
I'm gonna start crawling in while they're talking.
You're gonna go first. That sounds interesting.
She reaches out and grabs your heel. At this point, you're the only one who may be able to have an effect on anything, and I cannot. Therefore, I'm the expendable one.
Never go in first. Pro tip.
I thought it would convince Christiana to shut up and come.
No, but Christiana is in the most magical place, and she is not a magical person.
Right.
So she
She's
is
feeling
very
way out of,
confused.
like, yeah.
Right.
I'll go first.
Christiana grabs a dagger, stabs a castle. It worked.
Just like stabbing the rock.
Yeah.
Like,
Wait,
oh.
maybe we should send Bane first. Okay, sorry. Sorry.
Laboratory.
Keep in mind, if your cat dies, you have no access to whatever it is that you require. My access seems to be cut off for some reason. The last thing we need is both of us cut off.
Okay, I'm sorry. Please, go.
She steps in.
I'm going to cut my fox.
He's nervous. He's shaking.
Me too, sweetie.
So as you're crawling through, it's pretty tight fit. You're kind of like, as you're making your way through, it's like you're kind of able to crawl, but you feel your back kind of hitting the ceiling
Yeah.
of this thing. And it begins to warp and change shape. It goes from circular to more square, far more rigid and more like, I guess you would call it reality. It doesn't feel so ethereal.
Whoa!
And as you're making your way through, you're
Bad joke.
passing, she stops for a moment every once in a while.
Mhm.
Like whenever there's a little bit of light, and then continues moving forward. And you realize she's stopping at these points on the side where it's almost like there's a grate, kind of like what you were holding on to, that she looks through. And as you're passing through one of them, you kind of see that it seems to be some weird looking laboratory. Actually, most of them have laboratory looks to them, but each of them are a little bit different. One has like ice looking sculptures. All right, I think Sam just died.
You okay?
Yeah, fine.
Ice sculptures inside of them. Give me a perception check. Another that you look through looks like an alchemical lab with a number of different notes and different things within it.
26.
26?
Wow.
Yes.
One of those statues looks just like you.
You can cast spells, right?
Except not you now, a younger version of you.
If you ever find anything,
How?
you need to be able to cast one of your spells.
What's going on in these labs?
Nothing,
I can take your spell.
nothing good.
That's me.
She stops and sort of turns herself. I guess. I've never been to many of these rooms. I don't know what half of this is. But I have a feeling another part of me knows. She almost looks perturbed. Just keep moving.
In that case, maybe another part of us knows too.
You go by another, and it looks as though it's some sort of, almost like a factory of some kind. And you see like these weird metal arms like lifting things up, and like molten lava being poured through into different objects, and just like these weird areas where stuff is basically moving along like little platforms. And you see that other, like up above, like big giant metal casks filled with this molten liquid are being moved as well. Another room seems to have like a bunch of different like men in there, but they have like darker looking skin, kind of dark hair. They almost seem to have a little bit of like shadow that kind of moves off from their hair and their face as well. And they're putting on like this odd looking armor that just as soon as they bring it up to a clasp, rather than like having to make it across, the clasp just grabs on and pulls. And you watch as one of them tests their armor, and you see that it's like almost like scales, and the scales begin growing down their arm, and then they retreat back.
That's awesome.
we still in the same academy?
The access point to the academy, or to here, is in the academy, yes. Within the headmaster's home. But there is no way that we could get into that access. The other access lies in a military compound in the realm of shadow. There was no way we were getting in that way either. This is a place in between.
I'm almost not sure which is which.
I don't think we should be talking so much. They might hear us. They look scary.
She just kind of glares at you very annoyingly. Because she never really talks. So this is the first time you're telling her to shut up. She's really not happy.
I'm just imagining this look where Christiana's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. So you continue making your way through, and Viola just sort of stops the next one, just kind of turns herself, and is like she's just kind of giving up. I have no idea which one to even go into or where to go from here. I can't sense anything. I can't see anything. I can't feel anything. I figured as soon as I got here, I'd be able to figure out the next place, but I can't.
I know what I'm gonna do.
What's that?
I'm gonna slap her across the face.
All right. So you reach out and, with the little area you have, just kind of give a quick, little slap. And she stops and looks at you, kind of, what was that for?
Get it together.
ooh.
This is why she's my lieutenant.
You brought us here. You have some semblance or some plan. You're going to see it through. We are looking to you.
All right, next vent that doesn't have anyone inside of it is the one we're going through. She turns and begins to make her way up and crawls again. Slapped her right in the face.
Yeah, that's right. That was that moment. I just got told to shut up, and I did not like that. Then I get this whiny other lady.
All right, so she goes up to the next one, and you can make out inside of it, she kind of stops and it begins to turn herself around, so that both of you can't see because you're unfortunately behind Christiana, so the both of you are kind of looking into the vent. And it seems as though you're above something that's up against the wall here, and there's a lot of light coming off of it. Even though the lights are out in the room, there's light coming off of whatever is directly below. And it seems like things are sort of moving, because the light you're seeing is just constantly kind of shifting and changing. It doesn't seem terribly bright. It's enough that you can kind of make out the room. Directly in front there seems to be a large chair, sort of facing towards this wall. And it kind of the light just kind of goes back, and you can make out some of the floor, and that there's other things kind of moving around, but you can't quite make out those either.
Okay.
The ones over here on this side too, on this side, seem to have something snowy. It's something kind of you can make out light, but it looks like it's black and white, and it's just a lot of snowy kind of coloration. And you don't hear any sound though. It's just that light. And she looks at you. No one's there. Well, Miss Action, why don't you kick out the grate?
Really? You're going to have an attitude over that? And then I'll kick out the grate.
All right. And just sort of slide through with a sly look on your face, or what?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Smug.
I realize that perhaps now is not the time. So this is a weird moment for her.
So why don't you give me an acrobatics check?
Alright. Oh, this is also very...
Very high.
Yeah. 23.
You might want to pull it out a little bit more. Right.
Oh, wrong way.
You had it the right way.
Okay, that is a 23.
So you basically kick it out, slide down, and land, just perfectly. And you're already there, aware and ready. Do you have weapons ready, or are you...
Right, I feel like that was probably...
Okay, as you went down, you just kind of...
Yeah.
And landed.
It's almost
Without
instinctive.
any problem. The light's behind you. And you can make out the far end there is a door.
Okay.
Um,
Anything as I
and as you
survey
sort of
around?
begin turning on this wall, it does look as though there's like a lot of that snow. Same thing with over here. And it looks like these boxes like this that as you turn, it has the snow inside of them. And as you continue turning, you begin seeing images on some of the others. And you can make out different landmarks all throughout the city. A lot of like chaos and different things are sort of happening within there. You know, sort of people moving through and making their way, and like it's like you're seeing images from the city, almost like you're watching it, like you're there, like maybe like scrying.
Yeah.
Except you're realizing you can also see in a lot of the stuff as it's interposed, it's almost like looking through someone's eye, because the way that it kind of skirts around and sort of moves, and you can kind of make out in some of them noses, or you know, like the sides and stuff like that, or even rims on some that wear glasses, but the images are constantly shifting and changing. You see on one of the images, you notice that's more still, you can see Master Vankov, and he's inside of a sewer, and it's a very familiar sewer to you. And he's basically by a set of bars, and he's opening up the door to the set of bars, and behind the bars you can make out like the shape changer, the doppelganger gets up, and he basically is like tied up, but he's mumbling. You know, he's trying to say something, and he can't quite get out from the chains and everything else. And as you see the bar sort of move, suddenly the screen just goes.
Has Viola gotten down at this point?
They're more like carefully climbing. They really weren't doing the acrobatic leap down maneuver that you were doing, but they're sort of climbing off the side of these sort of screens that are like these boxes sort of setting out from everywhere. And you're kind of realizing at this point, like, they're looking through, like, one of the other ones you see off to the side, you make out Dunois. And they seem to be sort of making their way, they're rushing and running. Like, you see the person there, and they're both sort of running along, but that image seems a little foggy. Sort of like you see Dunois for a moment, but then it kind of comes in and out a little bit. And you see that he's holding, whoever the eyes are is holding onto a blade, and it looks like a city guard, city watch blade. And and not the same armor and everything else, but it definitely, like, the hand looks familiar, the sword looks familiar, and you're pretty sure it's Lambert's weapon.
Yeah. I'll point all that out to Viola.
Okay, so as the two of you kind of come down, you're now noticing all these different screens. And looking at each of them and seeing all these different images of chaos going on inside the city, it looks as though the sky up above is just black as night, with no stars, nothing within it, and everyone is sort of scrambling. But you do see that a few of these sort of like people almost seem to be working against the city. You know, working against all the people trying to save themselves. They look as though they're going in to help, and then suddenly are just taking out people. And so it's just complete chaos on these screens that you're watching. The one thing that stands out to you especially is the fact that there are these other screens that have like nothing on them, right? They're just sort of crackling everything. And there's 18 of them in total.
Viola, can we use these to see other things, like maybe where Parno and Corwin and Hamish are? I mean, look, we see here. Why can't we see? Can we like flip through or something?
And she begins kind of leaning in. Can you make light?
I can make lights. Hold on. I can.
We found Vankov's Disney song. It's actually not Disney, but Looking Through Your Eyes.
I can make dancing lights. Is this enough?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, and as they come up, you begin seeing that at the bottom of each of the screens is like little, almost like words that are there. On the ones that are 18 of them, they seem to be set, right? They're little metal plaques. On the others, it almost seems as though like there's these little tiny screens of sorts that are like clicking through, and as they change, they click through and a new name kind of appears. On the 18, as the lights are up, you see Victor, you see Isabel, you see Christiana, You see, and so on and so forth. You see your own names. You see all the 18 orphans that are on those screens that seem to all have gone foggy. You're not sure why they've all gone foggy, but as you're staring at them, suddenly lights come on in the room. Red lights. Yep, and that noise begins going up into the air.
We have to get out of here.
Father, what did you do?
Wrong!
Right, but...
Let's just check quick and then run.
Alright, well, she runs towards the door.
There's only one door, right? We're in a room? Okay.
And she reaches in and pulls out a sphere and holds it open and holds it up to the door and puts her hand over it and just like takes the sphere and throws it up against the wall. Well, it's useless now.
Helping!
Maybe
If you try the handle.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
So you go up and you do see that there's like a display off to the side, and you kind of reach out for it, and nothing seems to be working off of it, like just pushing buttons or doing anything, and you kind of pull stuff and it's not doing much. But it does seem to be this plaque that's on the wall.
In case of fire.
No, it just has the different stuff, and there's also a little red light on there as well.
Okay.
The doors, most of the doors are locked, and they're genetically coded. Only someone of my family's she would know genetic. Only someone of my family's blood can open them.
Yeah, your
You
family's
of that
blood.
family?
Yes, and the sphere is the means by which to open them. I know that because my father got 2 of them. One for me, one for him, so we could do this. But whatever's happening right now is even locking out the spheres. Which means we are locked in here. We have no way of moving between the rooms, no way of getting anywhere else, and we are completely stuck here until something...
Don't we have a grate that we just came from? And can we move one over?
She just sort of looks at you for a moment.
And maybe first we can try this and see if we can see where people are so we know vaguely what direction to go in.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Oh, sorry, I did not see.
She goes over to the chair and just sits down.
Do you know how these work, or should I just start pressing things?
Okay, hold on.
She's just sort of sitting there and she's staring
No,
off
I know.
into space.
Elise needs a timeout because Elise, does Christiana know that Hamish is her son?
Oh, no, you don't.
Right, because then
right.
I can't
Yep.
give my second
Yeah.
in command pep talk to my leader because I don't know
Yep.
that fact.
No.
I can't go, pull your shit together. It's your fucking
No, you're right.
You know, I can't do that. Like, go get your son. Right. Okay.
She sits down and she just stares into space and she's looking at her hand. And you see she sort of like reaches in and she pulls out an object. And she just sort of holds it in her hand and begins chanting again. Which you're realizing is more prayer than chant.
Okay. I'm going to walk up to her, grab her by her fucking collar, and say, how do I make the fucking boxes work?
Opens her hand and something drops to the ground.
What is that?
And she just sort of turns in the chair. Do you look at it?
Mm-hmm.
It's a butterfly. It's a lot like your father's, but not quite the same.
I pick it up.
I mean, it's a butterfly, like kind of bluish in color with the different stars all across the wing.
Viola, what is this?
Well, you recognize it as a symbol of the follower of Desna. Desna is the goddess of travelers, stars, and night, and freedom.
Viola, why? What is this? Why are you? What are you doing?
She closes her eyes, and you see the corner of her mouth begins to go into a little bit of a smirk.
Oh no! Okay. I'm going to take this and I'm going to like literally grab her shirt, excuse me, and shove it down her shirt.
You're just trying to put it in there,
Yes,
like trying to get it in there?
Yes.
Son.
Does that? Yes.
I always knew she was useless. So, you two want to get out of here or not?
Yes.
Good. Then you'll probably want to follow me. And you see she walks up to the door.
I'm thinking.
Her hands begin turning, like you see the fingernails begin turning into these like metal claws.
No, I think it's okay.
I think this is okay. Crazy Viola's out. You're fine.
Well, no. Okay. My thought about this is make sure that we have whatever it is that she needs to turn herself back.
Yeah, I just shoved it down her
Viola's-
shirt.
Right, but I'm sure it's gonna like fall right through as a shirt. You know how
Yeah.
shirts work.
Well, you probably have it in your hand. I mean, you could
Yeah.
get it back, so don't worry about that.
My guess is as soon as she gets up, because she wasn't holding onto it, it will just fall out because
Yep.
the other stuff doesn't want that.
Mm-hmm.
Viola mostly cares about Hamish, which means her other half might care about him to the point where she wants to kill him, which means she might want to find him just as much. I am hoping that that is the case.
Okay. Well,
So-
she goes up, takes the claws, puts them like slides
Sorry,
them in,
Dave.
into
She-
the metal door
Yeah.
of the door,
It's
and
cool.
begins just scratching downwards. As she basically, like, you can see like metal beginning to peel back as she basically does this, and then she just grabs it and pulls it open.
Gross.
I have question. I have two questions. Where are we going to go?
She shrugs. Gonna go look around for a bit.
I'm okay with this. Second question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you kill my father?
You go first.
No.
Okay, we have no time for this. We either continue on and hope to somehow turn this back, or die. So I'm pretty sure I don't want the latter. Let's go.
You talk too much.
Did the butterfly fall out of her shirt or anything?
Yeah. So you can get it back up. She just basically goes through the hole, like as you're talking, as after she says that.
Okay. I'll follow behind her.
Mm-hmm. All right, and so you make your way through the sort of like the hole, along with her into the hallways of this strange laboratory.
Yeah, but if anyone's gonna know, her evil self's gonna know actually how to get around the laboratory. Unfortunately.
All right, so why don't we? What are we at? Hang on.
Yeah,
Yep, that's
about
about
an
an
hour. Yeah.
All right, so switching over to you guys,
Canberra.
just really quick. Now we're gonna do like switching back and forth a little bit more.
Do you want me to do that?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Cool.
Okay,
Now
so
we're all interacting.
Group hug! Group hug!
Yay! No
Okay.
group hug for the DM. Aww.
Aww.
Where's the couch hug?
can I have a high five? Okay. So you're making your way through the vents, and Corwin, basically.
I just think of the Breakfast Club every time when you're making your way to just the
Yep.
scenes
Yep.
all around you.
And you've got Corwin dragging one of them, and Isabel dragging another.
She was
through
able
the
to lift
vents.
us, get up
Yeah.
there so we can just stage. Okay.
So what exactly are you looking for as you're making your way through here?
Well, we know the door. We know which direction the door is.
Right.
So we're looking for a turn that'll lead to the hall, presumably a hallway or a main corridor sort of
So
thing.
you're trying to get to the vent that leads out into a hall?
Right.
Okay. It takes a little while, but
With this-
you do end up seeing a point where yes, the vent sort of leads out into the hall itself. As you're going, you're kind of passing by a number of other areas that look like they might be hallways, but they have a lot of soldiers and different people
Those
inside
are
of
good
them.
hallways.
Right. And it seems like everything here is heavily on alert. You see that. Let's see. Who's first? Are you up first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if unless Isabel insists, I would.
No, she's too busy dragging somebody.
Okay,
So
yeah.
another of her dragon, friends.
Oh, the one who's in the tank.
And so you're basically making your way through this vent. You make your way up to one of them. It's not really in the hallway. This is the first one that you come to. It's not in the hallway, but it does look to be a lab of some kind. One of his, you're assuming some kind of alchemy lab. It has a number, but it's more like there's a number of objects sitting on the table that seem to like be open, and different pieces and parts of those objects are sort of laying out and different things all throughout the room. but there's no sirens going off in this room, and it seems to be pretty much sealed. Like there's nobody really in here, so it's pretty safe at the moment. And if there's no sirens, that also might mean that the door may
might be
open.
able to.
Yeah.
Did he throw it? Does he still have the sphere, or did he chuck it away?
No, he has the sphere still.
He does. Okay. Bossenberg. I think this door has no lights flashing. Do you think we can get through?
Possibly.
Also, did you bring those explosive things that you're going to use to destroy the?
You know,
Okay.
we have everything we need. We
Okay.
just have to find it.
Shouldn't have said that out loud. Well,
You guys have explosives?
shh. It's not actually. It's something else, but it's something.
Okay.
Should we keep looking up here, or should we try and make our way down below? From up here, we're limited where we can go, but no one's going to stop us.
Until he uses the gas.
There's more of that stuff.
We should be down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll move past that vent and kind of try and flip around, so we have two people on either side, so we can pull it out without making a lot of noise.
Okay.
Teamwork.
You're not going to kick it out like some people do?
Noise.
All right, so yeah, between you and Corwin,
Yeah.
so
Guys are
the two of you kind of like, he does a little bit more of the grunt work, but then you're able to sort of stabilize it so it doesn't make a lot of noise.
Exactly.
And you just kind of take it and lower it down.
Yep.
You're going to climb up first?
I'll do the whole like put my head through and look around, and if it's clear, yeah, I'll climb up first.
Okay, give me an acrobatics check.
I'll lower myself as far as I can, then drop.
You know, some of us are just taking.
Or climb if you have that.
Wish to.
We're just accepting ourselves. Some
Camera
of us
players
are
and dice
doing
cam.
a little better job than others.
I'm accepting myself. My normal self floats.
No, I'm saying. I'm just saying. You know,
You're accepting the fact that you have a murderer inside of you.
slowly.
Oh, that's not good.
Nope.
It didn't roll, but
All right, you kind of slip a little bit and
Yeah.
make a lot of noise as you land on a
it's
table.
it's above 5 but below a 10. There's
A
little
bunch
bit
of different parts come rolling towards you, and you stop for a moment,
I kind of like hold up my arm, trying to stop him from hitting my face.
and you kind of wait to see, and there doesn't seem to be any reaction to the noise.
I'll, as quiet as I can, like, in kind of that whole shame face, just kind of scooch off the table, make sure the parts aren't going to make. Does the table move?
No, it's a metal table that seems to be set into the ground. It's just that when you hit it, it's more like everything just kind of rattled towards you a little bit. A couple things fell over, but no, it doesn't look like you bent it or
Okay.
broke it or anything like that.
I'll grab the parts and not sweeping them because I don't want to make more noise, but quick moving them, just to get them out of the way of the next person coming
Okay.
down.
So as you're kind of moving everything out of the way,
What are they?
well, it seems as though it's like a casing that looks almost like it's got a crossbow handle on it, but it has like this, I don't know, it's weird, like it's kind of broken up on the top. It's long and it has these different like lenses and crystals and different pieces that are sort of probably were set into it. You see that kind of off to the side of it, there's another one just sort of sitting there. But it seems to be completely together, like sitting up, well, it was up on a stand, but now it's kind of fallen over.
It's an interesting thing, but no
Just
time
kind
for
of
it.
set it aside.
Yep,
All
no
right.
time for it.
All right, so the next one through is Corwin, and he basically doesn't clunks down. Yeah, so
Boom.
he's not wearing his armor anymore because he couldn't use that in the vents.
Okay.
And so besides of which, I think he was pretty happy to be rid of it.
He had mentioned you wanted to be rid of it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Would he now be like shiny white though?
What do you mean?
Oh, no, they're not on the same plane. Never mind.
No.
I
Yeah.
say, but
Well,
he would
they're
like be
they're
like
in,
this
they're in the
white,
pocket dimension, but it's not like
right,
yeah,
he would
exactly.
be this like white beacon.
Yeah,
after.
right. So yeah, he lands out, and then they start lowering down the others, and
Yep.
everyone's kind of coming through. Well, are you looking around the room?
Yeah, after the third one down, I tell him to watch the door, and I'll go and look around the room.
Okay. As you're kind of looking around, you see also that Jiaying, who kind of came down a little bit after you, is also now kind of making her way through the place, and is just looking at stuff. You're getting the feeling that this is more of a private lab. That this isn't like some place that anyone else can make their way into.
This is the
at all.
playroom.
Yeah, there's all kinds of different things in here. Body parts that seem to have been taken apart and like kind of looked over, and they're not of like human people, but just of different creatures. There's like brains in jars that have little attachments set to them and in different spots.
Gross.
Yeah, there's like all kinds of different lab equipment. There's books, but they're blank. There's like absolutely nothing in the books as you kind of look at them. Like, you know, you kind of like go over and you turn a page and there's just nothing there at all. But yet there's like what looks to be like a weird kind of pen sitting next to it. It's all made of metal. It doesn't have like a quill or anything like that on it. So, but it does have a point on it that reminds you like of a pen's point.
Detect magic?
I was just about to ask if I could
No,
do that.
in fact, nothing in this room is magical.
Huh.
Except for one thing that you do notice that Jiaying is currently holding in her hand. And it looks to you like it's a snow globe of some kind.
Is it another sphere like what they were using to open the doors?
Yeah, it's a sphere, but inside of it just has little bits of snow that are falling inside of it. And she's just sort of shaking it.
Does the snow move when she shakes it?
Mm-hmm. What a nice little home.
Is there anyone inside it?
Do you go up and look in it?
Yeah.
It does look as though in it there's a little house that seems to be encased in ice.
Yeah.
And as she and there's little figures inside of it that are there. And as you kind of look at them, they're kind of like all bloodied and mangled. And she just sort of shakes it. Happy family.
I hold out my hand for it. If I may.
Just holds it close to herself.
Well, hang on to it. It's magical.
It doesn't belong to you.
Well, I mean, this is all well and good, but I
was gonna, Wasserberg at the door.
Okay. Do you have any idea where we are inside this building, Wassenberg?
I can only believe this is my father's lab.
Okay.
I've never seen this place before. And he's looking around like he's just fascinated by it.
Will you try getting the door open? We should be looking for anything useful.
There's not just one door, there's two. And at this point, you're not really sure which of the two leads to the hallway, and or if they both lead to the hallway, or if they lead other
Different
places.
halls or something.
Right. You also, as everyone comes out, and everyone's gone, when you look up towards the vent shaft, there's no more hole.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
The one-way door.
Actually, no, I'll give it to you with Hamish because you have a high intelligence. If you were going to gas the vents to make sure no one's in there, you're probably going to seal them all shut so nobody can escape.
Good point. Okay. Can I attempt perhaps an appraise or knowledge arcana check?
Appraise.
Okay. I would like to try to see if I can't. Maybe I can make an educated guess as to how the pen and paper work, so that maybe we can try to figure out how to reveal what's been written. Because I'm sure that this isn't just like lab, but maybe this is somewhere that he writes his secrets. 14 plus my totally awesome intelligence is 17.
17?
Yep.
Well, you look over. You want to look at the books on there. They're all completely blank, and you grab up a page to turn it. And as you touch one of the pages, all of a sudden writing comes and appears. It just kind of and it almost seems lit.
Interesting.
It's giving off a small bit of light. And you see that the entirety of the book begins to do that. And the pages seem almost slick and a bit odd.
Maybe it's something to do with my being related to
Let's
it.
figure something out.
How many books are there?
Who are you saying that to?
I'm saying it out loud.
Okay, well, everyone else seems to be looking around except Parno, I assume? Or are you looking at the door?
I was going to go up to the door and listen.
Okay.
So.
You see that Wassenberg is currently looking through different stuff. He's picking it up and kind of staring at it and just kind of setting it back down. He picks up one object in his hand, and it's a much larger thing like what you saw before with the crossbow thing, and he's just sort of holding it and turning it around.
Pointing at various people.
just kind of, so you're really, as you're about to say that, you realize you're speaking to no one at all.
Okay. Well,
actually, Jiaying's looking at you inquisitively and smiles.
interesting, isn't it?
Yes. And she's just staring at you. She's not looking at the book.
Right. How many books are there?
Just the one.
Well, I'm gonna take the one. But I mean, before I like pack it up, is it anything that like is it a language I can read?
Mm-mm.
Does it look obviously magical?
Not magical at all. You're looking at it through detect magic, I assume?
Yeah.
Or something like that? Yeah, there's no magic to it at all.
Must be some sort of code, or just a foreign language. All right, I'm just gonna take it.
Okay.
Like you.
In fact, this place doesn't just feel like there's no magic, it's just completely absent of magic.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it's like magic, anything that is magical stands out against it.
Yeah.
It's null magic. It's just yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case,
Gonna grab the pen.
yeah, absolutely. I'll totally take the pen. I could use that to stab somebody in the eye. Pen is always mightier than the sword.
You see Master Wassenberg kind of grabs the thing and pulls a trigger.
Oh God.
That's gonna be loud.
No-
when you
nothing
close
happens.
this. Oh, thank heavens.
Maybe not manipulating something that we have no idea how it works, please. Anyway,
So while you're listening,
Yep.
you're kind of up to the door and you're trying to hear what's going on. It slides open.
Oh, that's
and you
awkward.
kind of fall through. And as you look up, you see Master Wassenberg or Master Vankov.
What?
There's just that moment of like that one frozen tableau. I'm sure.
And you realize that he's inside of a kind of a glass container. A little bit like what you saw everybody else inside of, but it's not quite. It doesn't have the liquid or anything else like that. It's completely naked. And it's just sort of resting inside of there.
ew. I bet he's all wrinkly and gross.
He
Is
is
he
little.
young?
Actually, he's not as wrinkly as gross as you'd think. He's fairly muscular, even though he has sort of more, facial features that would, give way to age.
Is there anything else like in the corridor, closet, room, whatever it is?
But you see that various different things are sort of active. Like lights are active next to this sort of thing that he's inside of, and you see that there's a little bar that's sort of very slowly like filling up, and it seems to be sort of lit and green.
That's his health bar.
Hamish,
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm looking at.
That makes two of. Is that vet?
It's like a little closet where this thing is and all these different devices. And as you're sort of looking at it, it's all active and things are lit up and they're all kind of going and things like that. And you begin seeing a hand twitch.
I take the pommel of the blade and I start pounding on the glass.
All right. And as you do it, boom,
Yeah.
it just sort of bounces off. It's just it seems to be made out of the same material that your cage was made out of.
Okay. All right. Well,
I look for wires or
And
cables
at the
leading to
speed at which it's moving, it looks like before whatever it's going to do, you have maybe about 5 minutes.
okay. Well, is there anything anything external that like leads or connects to the container?
No, unlike most of the devices or different things you've seen, there's always some sort of lead-in or something like that. This one seems to be sort of...
Kind of self-contained?
Yeah, the other thing that stands out to you, your Detect Magic's still up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of those things that is magical.
Okay.
Even though the device on the outside isn't, it's almost like a mixture of whatever that other stuff that he's been working on and magic combined together.
I bet this is a body for him. If I had to hazard a guess. Not knowing anything about how this
This
works.
reminds me of Rick and Morty. Tiny Rick!
We've probably got about 5 minutes before that thing wakes up, and I'm sure we don't want to be here. So we know not to use this door. How'd you open it?
I touched it.
You
Try to shut it.
All right, you touch it and nothing's happening.
Okay. Well, is there... We can't really slow it down. Wassenberg, we gotta go.
Time to move.
He's as you turn to say that, he's like right behind you. He's just shaking his head. So that's how.
What's how?
He's died many times.
Did he just die again?
He must have. He kind of smiles a bit.
She's still alive?
He nods. But you're right. We need to get out of here as quickly as possible.
Yes, absolutely. And find her.
So as you step away from the door,
Yeah.
it shuts.
Oh, well, that's convenient.
Is it like a sort of thing? So
Yeah.
there's no like lip at the top.
Yeah. Except that's the thing. You were up against it, just slid out from under,
right.
from away.
If there was actually like a lip at the top, we could balance one of the vials of acid.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Well, moving time.
All right.
So everyone gather up. Vassenberg, try the door.
All right. He goes up. He holds up the sphere, puts his hand over it. Door opens.
Awesome.
Oh,
He's
sure.
just- he
it
just-
works.
He relaxes for a moment.
What's inside the door?
So the door opens and you're not in the hallway. You're actually into another room.
Of course we are.
It's looks like another portion of his laboratory. And this one has a number of different like cases all across.
Cool.
And it seems as though in each of the cases there's like, it's almost like it's frosted over. On them, like you can just see a lot of ice and everything on the inside of the glass.
Okay.
And there also seem to be a number of different like bodies laid out, like almost like you've seen in morgues, except this thing seems weirder. It's got like little metal implements that are like holding stuff open and things of that nature.
Do I still have that sword that they were using to carry things in? Like, did I get it back after
The sword.
the one that in the pommel was?
Oh yeah, you got that back.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
I'll try and smash one of the frosted window things.
Just gonna smack up against it.
Yeah.
Not even gonna look inside, or
Oh, yeah, I can see inside? I thought it was frosted over.
Yeah, but you can try to. Like it's like frosted on the outside, but also the inside. You can kind of do one of these to get.
Okay.
You know how like if something's really cold, it'll get a little bit of frost on the outside
Yeah,
too.
I'll try it.
Start moving off that one, and you see Master Vassenberg inside.
What the shit?
Vassenberg,
He steps over
do you have a body too?
and he just sighs. I'd rather not talk about it, but this is obviously where he makes them.
Should we smash them? Then let's move. And then
Just
I'll...
be wasting time.
I don't know if it's easy to smash them.
But it does seem as though there's like 6 of those, just sort of laid out. And you also notice that the body that he's taking apart is also Master Vassenberg. And that there's leftover bits of stuff off to the side that he seems to have thrown away.
I can recycle this lung.
You.
Oh.
And it does in a way seem as though he's using sort of clones of his son or copies of his son to experiment. Endless bodies.
That's not unsettling at all. I need an adult.
And you see that one of the, as you're kind of, I'm assuming you're kind of making your way through out of here.
Yeah.
One of the Vassenbergs reaches out and grabs you by the arm.
Oh.
And it's one of the ones on the table himself, kind of open.
I
Kill me. I draw my sword and I'm like, I look
And
at
you feel someone else kind of from behind you as you're
Yeah.
turning, grabs and pulls out the sword, turns it around and jams it into like the neck. And you see it's Vassenberg.
Yeah, it had to be him.
well.
Disgusted, he just turns and begins heading to the next door. And at this point, you see that there's actually 3 doors.
Okay. Can I try one of the doors?
Mhm.
I mean, without I of course I don't have the orb, but like it's got the panel there.
Yeah.
What would I roll to try to intuit how to open the door?
So you're playing around with it? I'm not even going to make a roll.
Okay.
And as you're sort of looking at it, you just see a hand kind of goes up over the side of you, and it has the sphere in it. You're going to need to learn how to use it anyways.
I grab the sphere. And I
Hold it out towards the door. Concentrate on the idea of opening it and wave your hand over it.
weird. Is this something that works for us specifically?
It is set to his blood. Since we have it within us, we can override many of the things that he has done. He has tried to keep me out many times. I have few memories of it, but I do believe I have tried to escape many times. This is not the first.
Does he still have my sword?
No, it's still sitting in there, so you would
Okay.
have to
I
pull
go
it
back
out
and grab
from Gossenberg. Yep.
Yeah.
I hand him the orb. I hand him the orb back, and I look through the door. What am I looking at?
It's cold in here, and there's just basically a series of different tubes and different stuff, all kind of leading towards another one of those glass canisters. But it's sitting sort of by itself, and there's a number of like little screens that have numbers kind of going off from it and things of that nature.
Okay.
But it also has another screen sort of in the center of it, and it's flashing different images.
We don't really have a whole lot of time, but I'll still check it out really quick. I want to spend like maybe 30 or 40
One of the images
seconds
is your
in here.
father.
Interesting. Wait, what? Really?
Mhm.
Whoa. Okay. Then I hustle over there and I look at the screen.
Okay. And it seems that it's basically somebody having an argument with your father, but then it switches, and you see Parno, and he's sort of standing there with a group of people behind him, and he's facing up against what looks to be this this black and red robed man, sort of like this perfectly shaped and crafted beard, sort of floating off the ground, as the two of them are set to face off against one another. The image then shifts to Christiana, sort of bow in hand, as she's making her way through what looks to be city streets, fighting against Hell Knights, and it almost looks like some sort of odd revolution or some kind, like this rising up in Cheliax.
Wow. Is this connected to this? Is this connected to the tube?
It's connected to, like, this is connected to the tubes, which are connected to this sort of thing that's right in front of you.
I want to look at
frozen.
the thing.
Well, it's frosted over, and you kind of move the frost, and you see that she can't be more than 6 years old. Just sort of inside of the tube.
Can I open it?
Yeah, you can try to. Do you want to, like, where are you reaching to grab to try to open it?
Okay. Well, does it look openable? Like, do I see?
You don't see a latch or anything like that. You see
No
all
hinges?
these different things. You're not sure about hinges or anything like that. It looks...
I run and I grab the sphere from Vossenberg.
You have the sphere. He didn't take it
Yeah,
back.
you still have it.
Okay. Open.
Oh, shit.
And it sort of lifts up and then moves to the side.
Whew. Oh, it's cold.
And you see that she definitely is extremely young. She has very white hair, pale skin, probably because she's been stuck in, like, frozen. You're not sure for exactly how long, but the way that it looks inside of this, like, you know how ice gathers and everything else within things like this, and it looks as though she's been frozen for years. You're not sure exactly how long, though. But at least, I mean, from just the gathering of it, at least 10. Which is longer than the kid is alive, at least from the looks of her.
Yeah.
But you're not sure if this freezing is keeping her from aging or moving or in stasis or what. So
Does she have a pulse in any way?
you're kind of reaching down to check.
Yeah.
You kind of pull up her hand and you kind of have to break it free a little bit from some of the ice. And as you get in there, at first there's really nothing, and then you feel a tiny bit of a pulse.
Good.
And she lets out one small breath. Like it's a breath she's never taken before. And then it comes in.
I'm gonna try to. Is she wearing any clothing?
No, she's covered in ice though.
Okay. Am I wearing enough? Good. I haven't even thought about my own clothing in years. Am I wearing enough clothing
You're
that I can?
currently just still wearing the small clothes, like the shirt and the tie pants that they give you.
Yeah.
It's almost think like the stuff that you get in a hospital.
Well, I'll wrap her up in the shirt at least.
Okay, so you're taking off the shirt and kind of.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of have to start breaking off pieces of ice from her that have sort of gathered around her.
Yeah.
And as you do so, it just sort of like it begins melting a little bit, and it becomes easier and easier to sort of break out. And she just, her eyes suddenly, like open, just like waking up from a very long sleep. And she looks up at you, and she smiles. Just this sweet, like she knows you, and she's happy to see you.
Hi. try to help. Can you stand?
And she kind of begins moving, and she seems a little like moving is very difficult for her, and she shivers a bit.
I put the shirt on her and I pick her up and
Begin carrying her out.
yeah.
All right. Meanwhile,
I was actually going to tell Vassenberg to grab the orb so we can try another door.
okay.
So I don't know how Vassenberg reacted to what's in that room, but
All right. So after you opened it and you were breaking everything off, Bossenberg would come in just before you kind of went down and got her out of it. Hamish, I need the orb.
Take it.
What is she?
I don't know, but she's a little kid in here, which means we're taking her. All right.
All right. So he turns
Yep.
and leaves. So which door? Left or right?
right.
Right. Holds out his hand. Holds over the orb. Door opens up and you see red flashing lights.
Close it.
And men rushing by.
Close it, close it, close it.
Just like this. Door closes just as the men turn and look at the door.
Quickly, other door. Hamish, we might have company.
Great.
And then you begin hearing like some sort of banging against the door.
Uh-oh. Well,
And it sounds like loud thuds against the door, the wall, and everything around you. And then it goes silent.
that's not good.
Quickly.
And he goes through the other door. And he opens it. And you see that it opens up. And it seems to be going into another sort of dark room. And you see Hamish is basically walking out with something in his hand. And it has white hair. And it seems to be a small child. At which point you hear this kind of screeching sound coming from the door. And you see these, like, something metal is sticking out from, like, it slides through and begins scratching along it like it's just butter.
What's up, Dad?
I hand the little girl to Bossenberg, and I make to grab the sword. I'm like, wait, that.
As you go like this, the sword just appears in your hand.
Hey, cool. Oh, I forget. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you right or left-handed? Your character?
Hamish would be right-handed.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone. Well, he is an elf, so I mean, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're drawing it forth, and you see that the door just gets clawed through, like basically it's moving through butter.
Well,
I draw the sword.
I'm getting my body ready.
And you see that it basically begins splitting open, and Viola's face comes through.
Viola.
There you are.
Viola. I remember you.
And you see that she grabs the door, rips it off. Okay, so you've been going through the hall with her, tearing through every guard that you see, or at least just sort of letting her tear through every guard you see.
While she's been doing that, I cast message on her,
Okay,
just in case.
so the two of you can converse for a
Yes.
little bit? All right. Yeah, smart. And so as you're going through, she just... I mean, there's not much for you to do.
I'm keeping a distance. Like, if she's like a few steps ahead, and I'm like, you know.
Yep.
Right, I'm just waiting. Christiana's whole idea is this person probably wants to kill Hamish or someone else. They want revenge, and they know how to get there. So I'm using evil Viola as a tool to just peruse the laboratory.
So yeah, you're going through the hallways. You're not exactly even sure where to go. Guards are basically like, as you're making more chaos, more guards are coming tearing through. They also send a few, like, what you assume are like golems. They're made of like metal and stone. And she just kind of tears through those as well.
Right, that's what I was hoping for.
Not a whole lot
She was like, nope.
seems to be standing in her way. And at one point, you come around the corner and you see that instead they seem to be trying to bang on a door to try to get in. And Viola just kind of taps one of them on the shoulder, and as it turns, just sort of begins slicing through those as well. Shall we see what they were trying to find?
Okay, Elise giggles. Elise
know.
is the worst
I know.
person to do this. Okay. I guess so.
I'm gonna just nod and grab onto Christiane even tighter.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you're my teddy bear for the day. I'm just like...
Yeah, it is very... She's not comfortable with this situation.
So, you have a feeling, because she's been muttering under her breath, I'm going to find that boy, I'm going to make him pay,
Right.
I'm going to bring an end.
It's not good, but...
But here's the thing. Give me. I'll give you both intelligence checks. I just think you'll have a better chance of it. So why don't you give me intelligence or wisdom checks? Actually, I'm sorry. This would be more wisdom.
That's
so
gonna be less good, and I'm still sickened.
Well, because my thought is...
Sense motive. Throw sense motive.
Viola has been fighting with her demon for a long time, her internal demon. The likelihood of her being able to take control of that again is much better than the rest of ours.
Camera.
Oh,
Camera.
right. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so those are both very good rolls. Sense
18.
motive, 18.
That was a 15. Oh, sense motive.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on.
Overnight.
23.
Good.
Jeepers.
Lord in heaven.
Right.
Wow.
All right.
Right, remember, Christiana does not speak, but
So
she knows.
you're getting the sense more and more as you're going through that what she's holding on to probably isn't the thing that changes
No,
her back.
it's probably Hamish. I know. That's my plan. I have had this. Christiana is going along with this.
Okay.
She has been watching.
Hold on. So, if I'm...
He's the personal thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
You don't. I'm sorry. It's just not enough. But you're able to catch enough of her little
Yeah.
her talks and
I know.
hear enough of what she's saying and everything else that you're able to
And
put together.
that is the only thing that's going to drive her, and that is what I need.
Because if she
her
kills
to
Hamish,
do.
she also kills her other half.
Exactly.
Yep.
And
Are
I
you
need
sharing
her
this
to
info
do
with me?
it. No.
Well, if she
It's
shares it,
easier for you to
Message.
stay.
even
No,
with
it's easier
even with
for you to stay in
message,
the
it's still a
dark.
whisper.
Yeah.
So the thing is it depends if you want to risk whether or not she might hear.
Nope.
So
It's much better for her to stay in the dark because if something happens, she might actually tell.
all right.
That's
your
my
thought?
process
Yep.
right now. She will end up. Viola will somehow get it out of her because Viola will do something and get her to be angry enough. And I don't need.
By the way,
two
that
evil sides.
feeling, I'm going to assume is more coming from another part of you, and the assumption of, or no, that's really just about her. Wow. Okay. All right. So Viola basically goes through, claws into
because
the door.
she's very observant. Remember,
Right,
like
yeah.
she's very
And manipulative.
Yeah.
She is kind of Parno, like right now she is really using that secondary role, but right now her captain is being a little stupid, so she has to nudge them along
Right.
the correct way.
So she basically goes in, rips open. You hear her say, "There you are." You hear another voice inside of it say, "Well, you said Viola, right?"
Yeah.
And then Viola,
Viola!
right? And then she just goes in, pulls the door, like rips it out, and you can see that as she's ripping it out, like little wires and
Sparks
mechanics
and,
and
yeah.
sparks and everything else are coming from the area that it normally slides in towards, and she just casts it aside. Now, are you both kind of moving in to see in the door, or because you're gonna have to be kind of close to her to do that?
Right.
Okay. Are you okay with being close to her? Because right now you're hiding behind Christiana.
I'm gonna try to do the best to, like, hide as much as my body as I can while, like, putting my head around to try to see.
Okay. So you see Hamish is in there, and he's wearing these kind of, like, light blue pants that just seem to be tied up, and that's it. Like, no shirt or anything else. But he's holding in his hand, and actually it's in one hand, this very large-looking black blade that just sort of seems to have little weird red runes on it, and also just kind of this wisping black kind of coming off from it as well. Directly next to him, you see Parno standing there, blade in hand, sort of ready to go and stand against her. The two of them are standing with that stance as though they could stand up against her, but they haven't watched her tear through men
Yeah.
as though they are nothing, is the way that you have.
Is Corbin
In
there?
fact, you're fairly certain your other half wouldn't even be enough to stop
Yeah.
her.
When I see it's Viola, I don't put the sword down, but I actually try and step between him and her. Like, hold on.
Yeah.
Like I haven't done that yet, but that's.
So
my
that's,
demeanor's
that's what
just
you're going to be doing?
changed. Yeah.
Okay, so as you take the step in, you feel something sliding into your belly. It's painful, but almost numb as well. Why don't you give me a fortitude save?
Hold on. There's an asterisk there. Is it charm or compulsion?
No.
It's a bloody sword.
That's not gonna be very good. It's gonna be a 6.
And you feel this sort of numbness coming through you. Could you just roll a d6 for me?
5.
Okay, so first of all, lose 5 points of strength.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Then if you could roll another 2d6 for me.
I'm sorry, Luke.
It's a 6. And a 2. So 8.
So give yourself 18 points of damage.
I'm sorry, Luke.
That hurts.
It's okay. He didn't give me con damage, so I'm still awake.
But you can feel something kind of flowing through you and weakening you. You're in my way, boy. And you see from his back, you can just see the claws kind of coming out just to the sides of the spine, and just coming back out again. What are you at? Are you at negatives?
I'm
or
probably falling over. I'm not negative, but I'm gonna assume I'm still not used to combat and other things like that. And
What is your strength at this point at a minus
I
5?
have to find where is it under adjustments for strength?
Well, what is your strength now? Minus 5. I just want to know the number.
7.
7? Okay,
no,
yeah.
7.
You're having a hard time holding yourself up, even with the light amounts of clothing and stuff that you're wearing. It's almost as though everything you have on you is sort of weighing you down. And she just sort of casually kind of slides you to the side as she pulls out everything, and you just sort of slump over. Yeah. Right over into Vankoff.
Vankoff? He's here too?
Oh, not Vankoff, sorry. Bossenberg.
Bossenberg.
I was like, oh, that's not good either. Okay.
Viola, you found him. It's enough now.
No, it's not. It is his
Shut
son.
up. It's enough now.
With you gone, I no longer have to change. I can be. And she's like basically you can hear her as she's taking the claws and sliding them, and sparks are coming off of them as she's stepping up towards you.
I know she's gonna kill me, but I'm gonna stand here and I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna fight it.
All these years he's been holding you, keeping you from me.
This is good.
And now you're finally mine. And she sort of pauses for a moment.
That's right.
And you see that she's like she's just really frustrated. Not
That's enough, Viola.
this time. And you hear a voice behind you. What are you doing in my laboratory?
Oh, I'm gonna knife him.
Well, you turn. He's not
Yeah.
right behind you. It's just
Yeah.
down the hall behind you.
Yeah. I turn. You. I've got murder in my heart for this guy.
Viola all of a sudden like changes. Like she's not like you. When you said you weren't
Yeah.
the only one saying it.
Okay. Good.
She kind of looks to you, looks to him.
I jerk my thumb at him.
And she leaps at him as you see he begins to alter and change.
And then I stop. I'm like, oh, I can't do jack
Not
squat
what
against
I
him.
planned. Not what I planned.
Sorry. They only had 5 minutes.
No! I was so close. I was all brave.
Christiana. Do you know how to get out of here? Fossenberg,
Yes.
do you know how to get out of here?
So actually, hold on just a second. So out of the doorway,
All the trails.
Corwin comes running towards you and just grabs you and like just
Hey, buddy! Yes!
you're alive. And he's like squeezing.
If you follow the chaos that way.
We still need to find the machine.
Do you know where to find the machine?
It is not.
Actually, this is the first time he's mentioned anything about a machine.
Wait, what machine?
There is a machine that he is using. It is the center of everything that is here. It powers it. It is what allows him to do most of what he does. It is what has changed your memories, made your other halves. It is. I'm doing too much. A little bit less of the accent. It is also what gives him his
We need to destroy it.
stolen life.
I've been in here for a long time. Can I remember where to go?
Actually, I mentioned it earlier today.
I know you did. I know that, but I'm.
Oh, you want to try to recall with intelligence?
Yes.
All right, go for it. Roll it. You might want to hit that button to change it over.
Yes, I do, because I want
Holy-
everybody to see that I rolled a nice looking little 20 there. Hey, look at that. Yeah.
Yes.
So
You do remember when you were taken into a room, and in fact it was the 6 of you in the room,
Okay.
all there, and you were the one facing it, the giant machine with so many different pipes and everything else coming out from it. And you've seen on every door, there's always stuff on it, there's always markings and everyone else, but you remember one door in particular that had absolutely no markings on it whatsoever.
We're going that way. Let's go.
Help me up, Chris.
Chris, don't you hate being called Chris?
You're a little busy right now. I'm
Is
so
his-
happy to see you.
Is that a bleeding
I'm so
one?
glad
Is
you're
that a
alive.
stab,
I
or
thought
was that a
thought-
spell or
That was. It's
I
not.
thought maybe they
currently
killed
bleeding,
you. I
but,
thought maybe that's why
it
you were
was-
here. I didn't know.
Is an effect damage essentially. Yes,
me let
I'm
go
stabbed.
down.
There's a
There's
hole in my
there's a
body.
great big
Kind of crushed.
there's a great big fight happening behind us right
Oh yeah,
now.
uh-huh.
That's why I'm trying to
Yeah.
get someone to help me up off the floor.
Can I apply blood clotter salve to him and help him?
What's that?
Well,
Some sort
it's
of
to a
clotting
bleeding
salve.
wound, cures 1 point of damage.
Yeah, you could definitely use
This
that
is
on
gonna
him.
help. Okay, I want to go over and use that on him.
Because
Okay.
he has gotten himself back up to his feet.
Yeah, you can use that to basically clot the wound and to make sure that it doesn't like.
We need to help Viola.
I mean, right now you don't have any access to. You don't have healing, do you? Like a cure light wounds or anything like that.
Jamin.
No.
I do have this, which will help, maybe.
Which one is it?
I mean,
What's it
it'll
called?
help- It'll help us get Viola to stay alive.
Yeah,
Like,
that fight you're gonna have like.
No.
Besides of which, whoever wins is probably either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so. Yeah.
Oh, we lost it.
He went
Oh.
first.
So I'm gonna do that to him.
Okay.
Should get some
So yeah,
health
you
points
kind of.
back.
So I get 1 health back, and I'm no longer bleeding. That's good. Or I can move without bleeding now.
Yeah.
Essentially. So I've levered myself up to my feet, and I'm kind of holding my side.
And you hear this voice from behind him, and it's sort of like as you're doing it, it's sort of off to the side here. If he drinks, is water going to come out?
And we're gonna just turn around and be like,
And you see this first. You just see teeth, and like these lips kind of peeled back, and it's sort of this horrifying figure that's standing before you, like, and you're not even sure like who or what it is, and you kind of see like the eyes and the nose and everything has that Jiang's look to it, but she's smiling with just this overly toothy grin.
do I know it's Jiang, or am I just maybe thinking it resembles
You
her?
feel it's Jiang.
Okay.
Something about her, like it's just sort of like you just like when you saw Hamish, you just knew it was Hamish.
Okay.
Even though he has white hair and this sort of strange skin, he's still Hamish.
No. What kind of question is that?
And she just kind of looks at you. A green one?
we need to
Of
move.
course. Okay, we
Yeah.
should go.
And
I'm probably helping to.
she's just like staring at you and starts following you.
Yeah, I'm kind of like.
Yes,
staring
we found
back at her
we
a
found
little.
Hamish, Jael, and Isabel. We need to move.
Jiang.
Jael. Sorry, Jael.
You're so warm.
What about Viola?
Why are you warm?
Viola will be fine.
I actually do not know why I'm warm, but it might be with running around.
Here. Maybe you need to be colder. And
Thank
she
you.
holds out like and it has a little bit of a chill to it, and it's a little snow globe. And you see that there's there's little bits of snow kind of falling inside of it. Shake it, and it makes the family happy again.
Can I? How much detail can I see?
Well, you look in it, and right now there's just snow. You can't make out
I
any
can't make
detail.
out. Okay, if that's all I see, then okay, I'll shake it.
All right, as you shake it, suddenly the snow continues falling, but you can see there's a little house, and it looks just like the house you grew up in. And you can see a little figure of yourself and your mom and your dad outside playing out in the snow.
Where did you get this?
She found it in the lab. Come on.
It did not belong to him.
No, it did not. Thank you.
It's dangerous.
Do you know what I can do with it?
Freeze. And she turns and begins walking out.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Okay, I'm gonna
I have so much murder
keep
in
this
my head.
on my person somewhere very safe.
I'm sorry, Parno.
And by the way, as you're all having these conversations, you are hearing in the background just like boom, thud, thud, as you're watching Viola's
Boom,
head being
crash.
smacked against
Yeah.
like one of the
We need to
beds.
help her.
Did Vankov go Hulk form?
What do we
Yeah.
do about Viola?
We need to destroy the machine.
Is
Which is why we're going this way in order to help her, because we can't do anything about that.
Viola can take care of herself.
I have this. Does it help?
And as you turn, you see Master, not Vankov, Vassenberg. Headmaster Vassenberg is standing there amongst them,
What are you doing here?
helping. What are you doing here?
I really don't know.
Talking too much. Let's move.
Hamish, you say you know the way.
That way.
Lead.
Boom.
Sorry, Parno.
Is it the whole doing anything right now?
She's actually fascinatedly watching.
I
She likes the
didn't
cones.
Yeah, no, hold on.
think-
So as you're all coming out and you're coming out of the room, Isabel sort of walks out of the room, and you have this momentary flashback to a moment when you were in your room at the dorm, and the door flew open, and there was Isabel about to attack you, which was when the wolf came, pulled you out, and saved you.
Okay.
And you see that her eyes like go from like normal human eyes, and they begin changing, like they elongate, and they go red. And you see that her skin turns sort of like reddish scales. And you see just like small claws start coming out from her. And now you're up ahead with
Yeah.
Vankov because you're about to go. You're there kind of right behind her, kind of coming out of the room. Corwin is holding the little girl at this point. And you see that as soon as you step out, you see the two of them squaring off and staring right at one another.
We need to go.
I would like to move, but I think she might
I
eat me.
I go up to Isabel and put a hand on her
And
shoulder.
her like lip comes up, and you just see like there's a fang just
Right,
underneath.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she might eat me.
I go up to her and put a hand on her shoulder.
Who's
Isabel?
her? Isabel.
Isabel, we need to destroy the machine that binds us.
You're just staring up.
Yeah, right. Parno, I don't know what, so I don't understand.
She's just like staring you down, and
Do
you
I-
see
I
that
know.
the claws begin kind of coming in.
Right,
The eye
and
begins
I
changing.
feel like naturally my secondary instinct is then to reach towards my sides.
And
I'm going to step
Right,
in
like
front
I
of
know
Yep.
where my knives are. My
I'm-
hands are
you feel the other part of you as well is just ready
right.
to
I'm
pounce.
trying like not to do that.
Like the other part of you just wants to,
I know,
like so badly.
I can tell. I can feel it, but I'm very confused because I have some memory, but not clearly. Like I can't really. I'm not connecting the situation. So this person I know has tried to kill me before,
Right.
but I don't know why.
I'm going to step in front of Isabel, look her in the eyes, one hand still holding my side, and say, we have to talk.
You're wounded. And all of a sudden she just completely ignores Christiana.
I kind of like show where the clotting agent's been applied and it's still very bloody. Like, yes.
She reaches over and kind of lifts you up and begins carrying you. And as she's doing that, she just kind of looks over at you and gives you a glare and continue like as she holds him and continues
Are
walking.
you still near me?
His lips just like.
I would assume I'm not going to go very far.
Well, finally,
from you.
someone's willing to help.
Don't tell her it was kind of my fault.
So, you're also realizing, Parno,
Well, no,
That,
'cause, like,
okay,
technically,
Corwin's
I was
carrying a
kinda,
small
like,
child.
water
Isabel
going
is
crazy
carrying you.
anymore.
So who's carrying the other two that you were dragging out?
Did Bossenberg didn't say anything?
Well, Isabel was the one kind of dragging them
That's
along.
right. They were like,
I guess we'll take the lighter one.
Yeah, you see, like, as you kind of look at up against nearby the
Yeah.
door, there's two, like, figures just sort of leaning
Why
there.
don't
Chris.
I take the tiny child?
No,
Give it
tiny
to
child
Mishka.
already. Oh, okay.
And then
You and
Corwin
Corwin,
takes the
most
heavier
notably Elvis.
people. Yeah.
Okay.
Corwin can carry heavy people.
You can get
Misha
one of
can
them.
carry a 6-year-old.
well, they'll listen if we just tell them to walk with us, right? Are they still drugged enough to?
At this point, they seem to be awake a little bit more. You're not sure how you feel about that, but yeah, they seem to be.
I'll just
But they will definitely follow orders at this point. You think you could probably get them to walk?
lead them by the hand. Just tell them where to go.
This way.
Nods and goes with you, like some weird automaton. And they seemed like their eyes are just sort of bugged out, like they're
Yeah.
dilated heavily, and just kind of occasionally their eyes just kind of move around. They definitely seem like people on Pesh that you've seen in some of the Pesh gardens, as it were, just completely gone.
Christiana's just
man.
absorbing it all. She's just
My hands.
processing.
It's a little bit much to process.
Right. Okay. These
Just
things
keep
are
it all
weird.
together. Keep it moving. That's the
Yeah,
only thing we gotta do.
They are following this order somehow, and I will continue with those folks. But Mishka, definitely, I give her the tiny child.
So I got the frozen 6-year-old.
Yeah, because you know what, Corwin can like take a
Oh,
punch.
that's fine. I
So
just wanted to
Corwin
make
should-
sure.
She's a little heavy,
I
but
knew-
you've got her.
I knew
Yeah.
what I was doing.
You should have the tiny child.
The fox is
Corwin
kind of
should
poking
be
in
ready
the
to be a punching
in the
bag.
shirt. Like, what
Well,
is
I
this?
would probably hold her really close to me because I'll be like, oh, cold.
Yeah, she would be really cold.
And she just sort of like goes like this on you. And she's trying to struggle to kind of go down. Alright, and she kind of wobbles a little bit on her legs, but she seems okay.
Are you sure you want to
And then
walk?
she just puts out her hand.
Okay, you hold my hand, we go together. But if people start going fast, you jump on my back, I'll carry you. Deal. Okay.
Making
Tender.
our way through
There's a
the
lot of tender moments right now.
laboratory.
Okay.
We're almost all
So
cleared up.
as we're walking,
So as you're making your way through, you're passing by like large clumps of bodies that seem to have been like torn up and left in like different pieces. Or like there's a door that's just kind of going like this on on one of the heads.
gross.
Like something has just sort of made its way through, and there's just blood splatter across all the walls.
Is this all Viola?
Mostly.
I perhaps thought analytically that using Viola and her other self might make it advantageous because she probably knows where to go, and I figured that her evil self probably wanted to kill you, so she probably could get to you really fast. And then she just went through
That makes a lot of sense.
like a battering ram.
How does
More
It
like
worked!
a cloud of angry birds.
Right, but I also kind of figured that it would be good for Viola because most likely that's probably the thing that's really the most intricate part of herself because she really loves you, and maybe that she won't become evil anymore. I think that you're the reason why she was split in the first place.
Like the amulet.
That interesting.
So I figured win-win-ish.
Oh yeah, we all won.
I'm sorry, Barno, I did
And
not expect that.
Corwin, like good strategic thinking, except for the fact that you hadn't taken into account the large
I
hulking
didn't
beast.
think that Parno would also go right in between them.
you are alive? I would like to point.
I
this out.
had a moment.
I am.
I was like, Viola,
Perhaps
it's
next
enough
time,
now.
I'll
You're
be honest, it doesn't hurt all
okay.
that much.
And then she tried.
In this story,
Christiana, maybe the next time you make a plan, it can have a little bit less blood.
I didn't
You
think
know-
about that part.
When Viola decided she was going to change over, and let me tell you, it was a decision. It's not like us two were going to be like, no, we will overpower you. What the did you expect us to do? I even tried to take this. Look, see, I have this, and I tried to shove it down her shirt. It does nothing.
maybe next time don't go in between the two big scary things, Parno.
She's
There
supposed
won't
to
be
be
a
our
next time.
friend.
That's true, and he is her son, so chances are probably wouldn't kill him.
Let's not gamble that. Okay.
That's a revelation for you, by the way.
Hmm?
I believe that's you just found out.
No, I figured it out.
What?
I put it together.
Oh, the whole sun thing?
Yeah, right? Because
Yeah.
you said...
Well, there was also other things mentioned, but yeah. I mean, I'll give it to you. It's fine.
Right, she said she figured that Hamish was kind of the whole point.
Yeah.
And she kept muttering. You said she kept muttering to herself.
Yeah.
So I kind of figured that...
That would be nice.
Plus you have the same cheekbone.
So,
Just stop talking now, please.
So as you're making your way through, and you're kind of having this conversation, you get to the point where there's just sort of a door kind of off to the side, right? It's just sort of tucked in a little bit, and it doesn't look like any major assuming door or anything like that. In fact, it looks like the broom closet door.
That's the point.
And it doesn't have any markings on it, giving it no importance whatsoever.
Perfect.
In fact, there's almost, if it wasn't for the fact that you were looking for it, there's almost, you get this feeling that something is making you not look at it. Like just sort of pass your head by it. In fact, you walked right past it and never even knew it was there until such time as here he is, like looking at it.
All right.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Okay, open it.
Open. Anything? Wait, does it have a door? I'll walk up to it. Touch it.
Nothing happens.
Bollocks.
Doesn't
Um,
doorknob.
Bossenberg?
No, it's just another.
Bossenberg?
Two of you are just staring at the door.
All this stuff is really confusing.
So if it's not this that opens it, it must be something else. He must have some way of doing it.
Is it a word?
Could be.
Cristiano's been really
A
good
riddle?
at kicking stuff open lately.
If my daughter was here, she could just claw through it.
Ah.
This is true.
It's about how are your
Um,
claws?
I'll detect magic on it.
Isabel.
She sets you down.
Corwin, we'll need your strength.
I don't think
No,
this is something.
everyone,
we can
step
force.
back.
She
Who's-
screws herself.
Isabel?
Yeah,
Okay.
away from the door, and she's beginning to kind of change as she says that.
Oh boy. You guys have never been in the room for this.
And she's just sort of doing the breathing in.
Oh boy. We should take a couple more steps back. I've seen what this does.
I'm flat against the opposite wall
You want to be farther away than that.
and crawling down the hallway.
Okay.
Apparently.
And you see that the little girl's just kind of around the corner, and she's like looking, like she's happily watching.
I like the little girl.
And all of a sudden, she just lets out from her mouth this gout of flame that goes kicking up against the door, and like you can see it filling out from to the sides of the hallway and everything else. You watch as metal on the walls are melting off, and as soon as she's done, the door hasn't moved, melted, or done anything.
It's not even red, is it?
The walls around it on this side are red, but not the door.
I go up and I give her a pat on the shoulder. That was still really cool.
That was meant for someone else. Last one I can do today.
You'll have another chance. I just
They do have a promise going. You don't know about it, but yeah.
Right.
Actually,
I'm pretty
you
sure
would've-
I could hear
Yeah,
that.
you heard that.
She has her text.
There must be some other way. There must be something that he does to get in this door.
can we lure him down here?
Do you really want to lure him down here?
He's got to be the only way that we can. I'd like to attempt. I'll attempt an intelligence roll, if that's okay, to maybe think about possible ways that he could open it.
Okay.
Is there any memory?
And
Is that how he-
Kind of letting him do that because he has actually most of his memories.
Right.
Good.
So-
Oh no, that's only a 10. That's not
That's fine.
bad.
10 plus what?
10 plus my intelligence is 12. I don't really like that roll. I'm going to take advantage of tireless logic,
Good
so
call.
I can re-roll that,
All right.
and then I get to choose the better result.
Okay.
And turns
Which is
out
gonna
it's
be
just going to be 12.
All right. So you do have a hazy memory. Like you're looking through everything. The only thing odd that you can think of, other than all the other things that are odd, is there was one time when he came to you drunk, and there were two of them.
There were two of him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There was a time that he came to me once, and there were... He had a double. So maybe
It was a clone. Perhaps two of him. He holds up in the orb. He holds up the orb to you.
Yeah. Put my hand on it. Open. Clever.
Yeah, you didn't really have to re-roll. I was going to let you because you know.
Okay.
But the difficulty actually was a 10. It wasn't because you were just trying to recall a memory.
Okay.
So.
All right.
But, yeah.
Cool.
But if you had gotten higher, there were other things you would have remembered.
Okay. And
Entree.
walk in.
Okay, so you walk in there.
Yep.
Behind you, Vosenberg walks in. Who's the next one to walk in?
Now, I'm gonna let Isabel go first.
Are you gonna go?
I'm staying close to Isabel
Okay.
for multiple reasons.
So as Isabel walks into the room, she takes one step in and begins jolting and then falls backwards.
There was a trap.
No, anyone
No.
of the Vosenberg blood can go in, but no one else can.
But we're
Two of you turn around and look at that. I would suggest maybe the rest of you wait outside.
I'm probably under
That's
Isabel.
okay.
And I tried to catch her.
What
with
about-
the-
and then
I
like
know.
fell over.
Yeah.
she just falls and crushes you, and you're like,
I'm not. Yeah. it probably-
And the door slides shut.
Yeah, I feel a lot better now that
oh,
somebody else
weren't
is
the
unconscious.
explosives out there?
No, he has them.
Oh, right.
He
Yes,
said
everything.
I feel
Cool.
a lot better knowing that Isabel's unconscious right now.
A little safer.
A little.
I have a question because Hamish, who wins kind of weird on us, is in there with the headmaster, who we have never liked and who's always been bad to us, and we're just sitting here outside listening to him. What
You
is
feel
going on?
as you're talking, you're feeling someone like tugging at your shirt on your side, like down below, and she's like pulling on you like this.
What?
I'm waiting.
And
for
she's
the
like trying to
question.
pull you towards her.
Okay, I come to.
All right, as you take a
What's-
step
sweetie?
towards you or towards her, you hear something arcing behind your head. You watch and you see this like arc of electricity just flies right where her head was.
Woo.
Following the path
As you kind of look
that
over, you see in the hallway there are two men. One of them's holding onto this thing, much like what you saw in the.
Hey.
Mhm. And basically he's holding on to it and like looks like he's bringing it up to fire again, but you can hear it like whirring up, like it's like.
Shit.
Why don't you give me initiative checks?
Yeah.
And there's two of them. Only one has the gun. The other one seems to have some like black baton.
Okay, let's get to that camera.
Cool.
I'm going to whisper down to the little girl. Thank you, sweetie. You are my best friend in the whole world.
She
This one?
smiles at you.
Yep.
Cool.
I will take you for ice cream when this is over.
That would be a
A little more.
20 for me.
20. All right.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's not
Far up?
nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be amusing.
Holy cow.
21.
I can't read my own.
15, but
So it's a 14.
it's a 14.
Yes.
Oh, you have a negative?
I'm sickened.
Oh, that's right. When were you sickened?
The last thing, and we're like in the same day.
Oh no, that would have.
No, that's gone by now. I told
Yeah.
you before that would be all that stuff is gone.
I got cured.
It would have worn off. So, yeah, I think I told you though in between sessions that you should do so because you asked me if you would be healed.
Now that you mention it, I recall.
Yeah, it's okay. It
I'm
happens.
sorry.
No, no worries. Yeah, so you can remove that, and so you would be at what, a 15 then, or a 16? What's your dexterity? Yeah, so you'd be at a 16.
Under conditions.
Yeah.
There should be a checkbox.
Well,
Scroll down. There it is.
Okay.
Oh, so it's +1, so 16.
Yeah, so 16. All right, so it looks like Parno is going first.
Yeah.
hey Mishka, I
Um,
think you should
Cor-
switch over to your evil self. It'd be real convenient right now.
Corin looks like he's getting ready to draw a
Are you
weapon.
actually telling me that?
So can I see them? Like,
Yes. Oh yeah. Everyone
my
sees.
head's out in the open. The rest of me might be under,
Yeah.
but Isabel. But I'm gonna cast a spell on the
Actually,
guy.
guys, here's what I'm thinking. Maybe we take a little 10-minute break right now,
Okay.
and then we can come back and finish this up.
Okay.
And we'll begin this whole combat and everything else. And so, yeah. So we'll end it here. Dave, if you could mute
See you in a
us.
couple minutes.